All right, guys, welcome back to Card Talk. Ryan here, joined by Tyler and Lou. Going to get right into today's episode where we've got a nice interview lined up with Tyler Wagner, former Major League Baseball pitcher. We're going to talk with him about how he got into the hobby, what it's like to see your face on a baseball card, and how stock trading is just like trading cards. So, as we get into
I just want to jump in real quick. One of the things about Tyler that we really went into that we don't talk a lot about enough, I think, in the macro of the hobby is the sale, is the exit, is the getting the actual ROI on the card. We really went in on that with
realized
Tyler.
values.
Yeah, realized values. And so I just we all three of us, we recorded that last Thursday, almost a week prior to this coming out. I think you should really spend time listening to that interview. There's a lot of good in there about the operations, and all of a sudden you find yourself, either 1,000 or 10,000 in on cards, and then there's actually a process that you have to go through, and it's not just easy to say, okay, well, now I have this much in cards. You have to make the sale and what that means and the responsibility that holds.
Absolutely. Lou and I talked about that before the show started, about realizing that sale, selling stuff, making money, and going through that. So that'll definitely be a fun conversation for our listeners. But Saturday recently was National Baseball Card Day. So just wanted to pass it around to you two and get your take on that, and then get into some topics around baseball.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a pretty fun weekend. I'm sure you had a ton of fun in the shop. Baseball season in general for me is my favorite. So I was checking in. I saw some cool hits. I didn't see any autos come out. You were saying how the autographs were a little bit harder to push. I would like to hear you talk through that a little bit for the audience too. But it was just a big weekend in baseball in general. Fernando Tatis is absolutely on fire.
Yep.
Yeah. One thing we preach a lot. I was talking to someone in the art market today, even getting into it, and he brought up, he's like, with the art market, you got to focus on what you enjoy and what you like. And that's so much the same game here. A lot of the phone calls or outreach I get is, what should I buy? What should I pay attention to? And it's like, well, what are you interested in? And as the days go by, I find myself caring less and less about baseball. I grew up a massive Yankee fan. I know Judge is like on top of the world right now, but it was a fun conversation with Tyler and tying in National Baseball Day, National Baseball Card Day. One thing with that, when I first started doing research around cards, seeing like the different things that they release at the show, like the different little products that come out. One of my favorite cards, which I sold way too early, but that's a learning, was an Mbappe Father's Day card. So I like just these little products that come out for different reasons and have a little bit of different collectability to them.
Sure.
That I've seen they pop up and you get them graded nice. Like there's always some random variations that they do. So I'd love to just hear you talk a little bit about what Topps put together for this. And it'll be fun to see 2-3 years from now, that if that card carries a premium because it's tied to, that was when the shortened season happened, or all those types of things.
Yeah. So essentially it was, how it's supposed to work is the card store owners get packs of cards directly from Topps. They cost stores money. They're not super expensive. But essentially what happens is somebody walks into the store and they get a free pack of cards just for coming in. It's got 5 cards in it. You can pull autographs. I think we gave away almost 100 packs and I only saw I would say half of them open, and there was only one autograph. So they're not, like Lou mentioned, they're not super easy to pull, but they've got autographs in there. They've got Luis Robert rookies. So that's a big get in that free pack. But yeah, it was just, it was a busy day for sure. A lot of people in, a lot about baseball, more than normal, I would say for sure. You could definitely tell it was National Baseball Card Day because there was a lot more discussion about baseball, a lot more buying baseball, a lot more looking for baseball than normal. It's typically pretty basketball focused at this point, where I'm at more football, but Saturday was definitely a baseball day for sure.
Yeah, and just the different chat groups, and different ways that pull insights. And I think that's something that everyone, no matter what industry you're in or what passion or curiosity you have, you kind of find, okay, how am I keeping my finger on the pulse? And there's no question that over the last 5 days, comparatively so to the last 90, like baseball has been in more conversation.
For sure.
I think you're starting to see a groove in terms of the games. Acuna, and again, I speak to this with not too much knowledge, but I guess Acuna came back, was hitting well. That could.
He had 3 home runs yesterday and a doubleheader.
3 bombs. Judge is warming up. You're starting to see baseball hit a groove. And then Tatis, major story out of ESPN today. He's been kind of starting to dominate some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fun, and there's always a tip of the cap to, the baseball card industry is what birthed everything that you're seeing right now. Basketball, you can say it's a clear number 2 in historical. I have a big, passion for soccer. It was fun to see Aaron go live today and do a big sale. I think you're going to start seeing a big swath there. So it's fun to see baseball in the mix. And, that Gary did that Topps thing. So it was neat. And then having the conversation with Tyler backed up. So, I enjoy all things baseball. I don't own or collect or spend much time, but I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. We also spent a lot of time early on in this podcast, episode 1-2, talking about, this was pre-sports coming back, how would things play out? Baseball got off to a shaky start. A couple teams pushed back. One hand, people are like, of course they're going to play in the World Series. Other are like, it's impending. They're going to shut it down. Would love to hear how you guys think about all that.
And we'll get into that because Lou and I feel very differently about the finality of the baseball season. But
someone thought baseball season would be over by now and someone didn't.
We got a long way to go. But I think the big thing for me is we wanted to talk about like prospects from this year's class because Robert's good, Lux, Jordan, Kyle Lewis hitting the ball well. I think the big thing I took away from it is the young stars in baseball and how many there really are. Luis Robert crushing the ball, Tatis, star, Acuna, like even Judge is pretty young. Soto just won last year. He's a star. Like so many of the stars in baseball now are 1, 2, 3 years in. I think that's the interesting take I have at this point is the bigger names in baseball right now are all really, really young. It's going to be interesting to see how that shapes out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, given that the season is going to go into the playoffs and there's going to be an extended playoff this year, I think you're going to get an opportunity to see a lot more of the younger stars, like the guys like Kyle Lewis is going to have a shot, I think, to make it in the playoffs. Soto obviously is back now. Fernando Tatis cannot be stopped. He's literally unconscious. Can't stop hitting home runs. Judge is Judge. I hate Aaron Judge. And then Acuna's back on fire now too. So,
who are those guys to that point? Who are those guys is on a club best poised for like a deep run? Obviously, Soto. Are they still firing on all cylinders?
Yeah, they're gonna be in the playoffs, right? Like this is what's gonna happen.
Kind of like the Trey and Luka. Like Trey, for all he is as a prospect, isn't in the conversation right now.
Yeah, I would say the Padres last year weren't a very good team. This year they're good. So I think they're gonna make a pretty decent run here. Like they were all the Dodgers' heels last weekend, playing really, really well. So there's not really. I'm trying to think of who. I don't want to speak out of turn now. I'm gun shy because I got called out a couple weeks ago. But
I was gonna say, don't ask Lou about the Braves.
Yeah,
it might not go well.
I think a lot of these young guys are going to have a chance to shine here in the playoffs. So I think it's gonna be a lot of eyes on baseball in the next few months, and we already saw it with Tatis in the last week. His price.
So let's get into that because we get asked this a lot. Like, what happens if the season canceled? We saw today the report going around: Big Ten football gets canceled. Like, stuff's going to happen with sports getting canceled. So if baseball gets canceled, I want to kind of have a discussion about what happens to card values for Tatis, for Robert, if they cancel, and we could go into the same breath or the same conversation, Lou, about if they don't cancel, what happens to Luis Robert or Tatis if they make a serious run?
Yeah, I would say in the event that the season is canceled, I think what's going on, like let's say they cancel the season tomorrow, right? What you're going to see in my personal perspective is Tatis is going to continue to rise because now there's a ton of hype on that guy. Like those cards are going for like 240-ish right now. I would say those cards would continue to rise. A guy like Robert, it might cool down a little bit because he hasn't made that much noise. Joe Adell, I thought he was going to come up and make a ton of noise. He made a massive error last night. It was kind of sad, but so I think
giving up a home run.
Yeah, it was tough, like a classic Jose Canseco. Yeah, it was crazy.
Like hitting it over the wall.
Over.
Yeah, he hit it.
It almost looked intentional. It almost looked intentional.
Yeah. So I think guys like him, where the hype has not reached the point yet, those would go down. But like same way a Luca, like it went down right after the corona, right? It would be the same thing. It would go down and then it would continue to rise again. I think that was what you would see with the Tatis and an Acuna and a Soto.
Yeah, we love to prospect, right?
Mm-hmm.
We love to project out, and to that point, we when immediate sports get canceled, you see the 10, 15%, 20% dip, and then it gets back to, how can I show that I'm smarter than everyone? By picking up the guy that's going to perform. And it gets into that boom, 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 churn. So you'll see that, I think, with the prospects. You saw it in hoops too, but now you're seeing even increased volatility, not only on the upside, but on the downside too, like we spoke about for a touch. So you'll see go build up, but then a potential to release a lot on the downside. Like you mentioned, we talked about before, just to briefly touch on it. Zion comes in 8 games to really show his stuff, doesn't come out that healthy, shuts it down early, and now people are like having questions all over the place, and you're seeing values fall. And I don't think you'll see him pick back up much until a picture comes out of him looking shredded, a week before preseason.
But that's all it takes.
Until he starts to perform. But
you know what I noticed as well, real quick, on our poll that we posted today. Shout out to Jason who posted that poll. Ja Morant was like blowing him out of the water. It was basically Ja versus Zion of who would you rather buy right now, and Ja was up like 70. I think it was like 79-21 or something like that. So that was pretty interesting for me.
And I commented on that, and I think we talked about this a lot off line here, but if Zion stays healthy, that's a huge if. If he stays healthy, Zion's going to have more hype around him. So I think there's more upside with him. But I think that's the big thing is Zion going to stay healthy? He's 20 years old and getting shut down for rest. He looks out of shape. He's scoring a lot, but just looks just winded. And that's reflective in his prices, right? I talked about it. A Zion 9.5 8 days ago was $475, $450 for a min gem. And I sold one last night for just, I think, a touch above $350. And that's a 25% drop in 10 days, 8 days, whatever. That's a substantial decrease. So I think, like Tyler said, is we get that picture of, him shredded in the off season, looking in shape, getting ready as we're a month and a half away from basketball or a month away from basketball. His stuff will shoot right back up. And I think that's where we're going to be for a while is you're going to have a group of people that think Zion can't stay healthy. Zion's out of shape and he's going to be a bust. And then you're going to have a group of people that are going to be all in. This kid's the next LeBron. And you're going to have some people in the middle. And it'll be interesting to watch because Zion's definitely got more hype around him. But I think Ja's the safer play there. Going back to the poll.
And back to it, we went baseball, basketball, bringing it back in just to kind of ground that is there's so much daily attention on active sports right now just because of the lack thereof. And then you combine that with the heat around this market right now, so much prospecting and thinking forward. If you equate it to the gambling futures, betting on the teams right now, even that is all out of place because there's so much unknown in hoops. But it goes to show that it's not all upside. You have to do the work. You have to be passionate about what you're putting your time into and make plays that you believe in. And then the gut of now it's down. Do I exit this or do I hold on?
Yep. And we talked about that with Mike. And I think that's a great point, Tyler, that you bring up, right? If you bought Zion 8 days ago for $475 or $450 and it's now $350, are you taking your $100 loss and putting your money back in where you can flip it again? Or are you waiting, hoping that you get to realize that value? And we'll talk about that with Tyler Wagner. When you've got something worth X amount of money, it's not worth that until you actually sell it, until you realize that value. So we'll get into that here in a minute. But I think that's a great point that cards go up and cards go down. Are you willing to take a loss? Can you stomach that to put the money back into play and try to reinvest it and try it again? Or are you just like, hey, I'm not losing money on this until I absolutely have to. Let's sit on it for a while. So I think that's a really good point.
Yeah. I took a L on 1990 Fleer Jordan that I bought. I did like a kind of spray and pray approach to a lot of Jordan stuff leading up to the documentary. And that was one car that it was just like, I didn't love it. And I was like, let me take it. I think I took like a 15% loss, take that and redeploy it elsewhere. And I think I picked up like a Pokemon PSA 9 and that's worked out well. So that's someone would just sit there and be like, oh, I made a bad move and beat themselves up over it or get back in the game and go to it. I think it's a great segue to go right into Tyler now, because that's most of what we talk about here.
Yep. So we just recently sat down with Tyler Wagner. He's had his face on a few different baseball cards before. He has signed autograph contracts with Tops, and we got to talk with him all things trading cards, pitching in the pros, and even day trading stocks. So here is our interview with Tyler Wagner.
Welcome back to Card Talk. This is Lou. I'm here with Ryan. I'm here with Tyler Schmidt, and I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Tyler Wagner, T-Wags, in the flesh.
Let's go.
I'm sure I can go on Tyler for 5-10 minutes, but I'm gonna let him explain himself a little bit right now.
Cool.
Tell us about yourself.
I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. Played baseball here growing up as a kid. Went to a private school here my last 2 years of high school, Bishop Gorman. That got me a lot of exposure. I played with a lot of good guys, Joey Gallo, Joey Rickard, Jeff Mom. I mean, just name the group in Las Vegas baseball. And I probably played with them, Chris Bryant, Bryce, all those guys growing up.
Yeah.
Then I got a scholarship to the University of Utah to play shortstop. So I went there in 2010, 11, 12. My first year there, I just was a shortstop. Didn't pitch much, and then later that season, we had a junior shortstop, and I mean he was going to play next year too. So they were like, "Hey, why don't you try pitching?" So I tried pitching in the conference tournament. Had a couple of like shutout innings my freshman year. They were like, "Sure, look okay." So that next summer, I went and they were like, "We want you to go play summer ball." So I went up to Kelowna, British Columbia, in Canada, and played a summer there, and was pitching, bro. I was having so much fun closing out games, and kind of just found that little like bulldog mentality, closer mentality. Came back after that summer.
Did you ever think about pitching before?
No. Well, so in high school, like I had got on the mound. They were like, "Yeah, you got a good arm," but just no idea.
Because when you're that talent, like it transfers and you can play a position kind of before you went to Bishop Gorman.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like so much better athletically.
Yeah, like I could get
everybody
behind the plate, and exactly.
Yeah, I played shortstop, center.
Gotcha.
So then I came back from that summer of pitching, and then led like the league, the Mountain West at the time in saves, ERA. I was like, up there for stopper of the year. And then we moved from the Mountain West to the Pac-12. This was 2012. This was the first year, and
much tougher conference.
Shellacked. I think we were like 14 and 42. I had 2 saves as the closer. I was coming in like the Friday night in the 5th inning just to get show the scouts what was going on.
Yeah.
And so like I had a terrible year, but I was throwing hard. The scouts were loving it. So I ended up getting drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers in the 4th round of the 2012 draft. And then so I mean my minor league career, a lot of ups and downs. I went 2012, made my debut with the Brewers in 2015. I went right from AA to the big leagues. Made my debut. I was supposed to be up there. I mean, whatever. We had Willie Peralta went on the DL with an oblique strain. So I'm like, dude, this is my chance.
It's whatever. He doesn't remember every detail or anything. It's fine.
Well, so this is the story. I go, this is my chance, bro. But oblique strain, that's 4 weeks, whatever. I'll make a couple starts up here. AA to the show. I'm like, dude, this is it. Get hit around in my debut. Like I think I went 4 innings, cut 4 runs or something. Paul Goldschmidt took me deep. So I'm like, dude, whatever. This isn't so bad. Like, whatever. We end up playing, it goes into extra innings, 17 innings. We play 17 innings. I'm like, all right, it's still not that bad. We're going to St. Louis right after this, jet, everything. Right after the game, we're like, hey, Matt Garza had to pitch tonight. He was supposed to pitch tomorrow. So we need another starter. So you're going back to AA. So I go right from the show. Supposed to go on the plane, supposed to meet my family afterwards. The game went so long, I didn't see a single person in my family for my debut. Flew right back to AA the next day, right back on the bus of the minor league grind, was there.
Brutal.
So at the end of that year, I get called back up in September, make a couple more starts. And then that offseason, I get traded. Another crazy story. I was at Brewers Fan Fest in Milwaukee, flew me out, whatever. In the hotel room with all the guys, right about to go to, I think it was called Carnivore Steakhouse, just in the best mood. hey, Tyler, what's up? We just traded you to the Diamondbacks. I'm like,
oh my god.
what? So I had to leave FanFest, didn't go to FanFest, flew back home, got traded to the Diamondbacks. And then so like this was 2016. Then I pitched with them for a little bit, up and down, long relief, got hurt. And then they DFA'd me. I got picked up by Texas. And then I played the last 2 years in AAA with Texas.
Nice.
So that's kind of like my baseball career, and I stopped playing in 2019.
Who is the most talented dude you ever been around in a clubhouse? That and one that maybe we don't know about, just from like stud.
Yeah, don't give me Goldschmidt again.
I was just, I mean, that's my number one, because he took a sinker down in, he took it off a home run. Just raw talent. You're gonna have to give me a second for that, because I'm gonna think.
How about
like
this? Who was the best high schooler? Like when you went to Bishop Gorman, who was the dude that was like, yo?
Were you like that's where Harper's from, right?
Yeah, he went to Las Vegas High School. Yeah. So we played with him growing up, but he didn't come over to that high school. Probably the best player is one of my best friends right now. He no longer plays. He was with the Tampa Bay Rays for a while. Is Jeff Malm. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year, led the nation in hits. I mean, just absolutely tore up high school baseball. And then instead of going and accepting a scholarship to USC, he decided to sign with the Tampa Bay Rays. Got buried in their system for 5, 6, 7 years. Didn't let him do what he did best and hit, and they just toyed around with him, and now he's no longer playing. But absolute best high school player, Jeff Malm, Gatorade Player of the Year, leader in hits. I mean, unreal.
What a shout out for Jeff.
Absolutely, and he's gonna hear that. I'm gonna see him today when we watch the Golden Knights game.
So Tyler, you have this very interesting and exciting baseball career. So where did cards come into play? Like, how did you get into the card game?
I mean, a lot of it, thinking back into back in the day where we're baseball players. We're trying to go to practice, go to this field over here at spring training. Okay, you got to get to that field by this time, and then go over here to stretch. And so my early memories was autograph seekers of guys with books of my rookie card, and there was 30 or 50 of them. And they're like, "Hey,
what year was your Bowman?"
2015.
That was your first Bowman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have this nasty. This is my prize. Joy. You're not gonna be
this
able
is the
to see
best.
that, maybe.
Do you have the 1 of 1?
Nope, I can't find it.
That's
crazy.
Someone has to be sitting on that.
50. Yeah, 100%. And I just actually
That's so sick.
I just actually bought. I don't know why for the
This
first time. I don't know why. I've never thought about this, but this is the first time I bought this box.
I mean, it could be sitting there right now.
100%. I'm like, dude, why didn't you think about buying your own box that you're in? Like, why did you never think about this? So I literally just got in Bowman? Not Carlos Rendon. Schwarber.
I think Schwarber's in 15.
Schwarber's in 15.
So yes,
and Tyler Wagner.
And yes, I overpaid for it for me.
That's fine. That's hilarious. So can you? So you were your first memory is autograph seekers, and then you're obviously signing for Bowman. You're signing for Topps, etc. You didn't actually start collecting until post career.
So the other thing is this frame up there is a collection of what me and my dad collected. So back in the day, I mean, I was collecting, Jeter rookie cards, McGuire. So we had in Vegas, we had the home run derby. It was called Big League Weekend. And for some reason, I still can't comprehend why, they used to have a home run derby here in Vegas with Canseco, McGuire, Barry Bonds, Todd Helton. I mean, just the names. So every time they were here playing at Cashman Field, which was the minor league field, I would go and I would get autographs from all those guys. I have bats from Barry Bonds. My collection of personal stuff that I've got from Harold Reynolds. I mean, just name the guys that were there so that's kind of another memory that hits home with me, is actually getting their autographs. And I'll never forget, I asked Barry Bonds for a ball, and he signed it. And then I asked him for a bat right after. He said, "Son, one item."
That's
That's
wild.
great.
And I was like,
Legend.
oh my, this is ruthless. But all
Yeah.
right, cool, whatever.
Keep
bro.
it
You're trying to
moving.
control your
Keep
market.
it moving. Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like that play, honestly.
Knows
Yeah,
about
seriously.
putting product in the market.
So,
That's
I mean, I've
great.
had a bunch of, hobby wise, just little things that kept sticking with me over the time of like, okay, like little things that pop up. You're like, okay, that's cool. Like, why does that guy collect that? Or why does this guy do that? And so, kind of when I stopped playing is when the, reemergence of this market kind of hit, and the national was kind of the thing that, I mean, really brought me in. That was like on a whim. I booked a trip and I was like, dude, I'm going, whatever. And at that time, this is another crazy thing. At that time, I was doing, so right after I got done playing, I started doing all of Trevor Bauer, his social media, his YouTube build out, off the field endorsements, merchandise, pretty much everything. So the national was literally right in the middle of the trade deadline as well last year. So I just decided to book this trip, like whatever, nothing's going to happen.
Oh, and then he
So
got
I'm
dealt.
at the he got
traded
got
red.
dealt, bro. I'm trying to make
Yes.
graphics of new trades. I'm trying to do this in the middle of the national. And so, I mean, that was kind of like the thing that sparked it. And I mean, the national, if you don't,
Changed my
everybody
life.
listening to this,
Changed
if
my
you
life.
don't get a chance to go there, I mean, that is what sucked me in, of like seeing the amount of people that all are just locked into this one thing. And it was like, dude, this is unreal. And that was a year ago.
Yeah.
So
I have been for the last 10 years to that show in a
Gosh.
row. And every time I walk in, there is nothing in the world like it. If you've never been, you just can't comprehend what it's like when you walk in and it's just cards everywhere. The first table you see, it's like they make this card, they make this card. There's nothing like it. It's the best.
And just also seeing the different price, like same card. You do one walkthrough, and you're like, before I even started playing the game, right? I'm like, all right, I got a couple people in mind. I go, you got soccer, you get to know who's doing what. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Michael Porter Jr. was my guy. You walk around, some people selling them for 22, some for 25, some for 27, and then some. I'm like, okay, hold up. 3 days later, one card like all of a sudden gets hot in the national. Bought a Michael Porter Jr. silver for 20, sold it for like 35. And what we were talking about pre-interview a little bit is like, oh shit. Like there's all levels to people either paying attention or not. People personal collect, people or not, so they don't give a fuck about paying the rip. Like there's ways to play the game. And then when you go into the different pockets, crew over here that's dealing vintage basketball, all this the sets that are like under these guys whatever displays, it's just absolutely mind-blowing. And then the best, I mean, we met there. That was, I think, around the time of like
I met Tyler in front of your booth.
Yeah, so which is funny. I think
Our booth is
the
kinda popping,
community
huh? That's
aspect,
crazy.
the booth was definitely popping a little bit. It was definitely popping a little bit. But yeah, such good memories. So good.
National.
Yeah.
Unreal.
So, Tyler, I think what a lot of people are going to be curious about is the signing process of how that all goes, just to get back to that a little bit. Can you talk us through, number one, like, what does it look like when they approach you like, hey, we want you to sign for Bowman this year? Number two, how many cards are you realistically signing? I'm not sure if you're even allowed to say that. And then three, like, how does that whole process go? Like, just walk us through it.
Yeah, I think it really depends on like what kind of prospect you are, or where you were drafted, how you're playing currently. Because I got drafted in 2012. I had, I believe, one Panini that was like maybe 2014, and then I didn't get a card until 2015 Bowman. And so like you got to get yourself on the radar to the point where they actually want your autograph in the product. And then kind of after that, it's I would say the deals now are pretty standard. Through your agent, contract signed, and it's per signature. So I think a lot of these deals now, are they're signed. I think I signed 5,000 cards at once, and so like
on
not
card
even
or stickers,
both. And so
Both.
Panini was stickers, and then Bowman was on card, all on card, I believe. Yeah, because I had the stack of those, and then Panini you just have You just have a
like
you
the
know,
sheet, right?
papers full
Yeah.
of stickers. Yeah. And so, and looking back at that process, I mean, so I just pulled up this is my old computer from like 2012. And so on that computer, for some reason, just I always film a bunch of stuff. I set up a GoPro of me
That's sick.
signing all those cards. So I look back and I see, I'm like, dude, that's like my 1 of 50 right there. That's my gold auto that I'm signing right. But at that time, I'm like, dude, I don't know what this is. Like, who cares?
Yeah, it
about
doesn't matter.
1 of 50? I don't care. But now it's like, dude, I know guys that are about to sign that. I mean, questionable Giannis, questionable. Like, there's different things that you're like, dang, that 1 of 50. I mean, could be a lot right now.
Yeah.
And so like my mindset was not even thinking about what it's worth, who collects this. I'm just getting paid per signature. I'm like, dude, I'll sign you got 1 million signatures I can do? Because I'll get
keep them coming.
And so, yeah, at that time, I'm like, whatever you guys want. But, and then so that process, you send those cards back and then that's all you hear about it as a player. You're like, cool. And then you'll start seeing some pop up either on eBay or just start seeing, the base card that I didn't sign. Now they're wanting those, signed. And so now, okay, well, what's the difference between, a Topps authenticated signature and then me actually signing in person?
Meaning like a fan would come up and ask you to sign.
Yep.
Is that what, yep.
Yep.
Got it.
And so that card doesn't have the, place where it's a little bit whiter where you're going to sign. So you can tell that that's a base card. And then these are the ones that Topps actually, intends for signatures.
Yeah.
And so then you kind of put those two together.
Good content. That question gets asked a lot by newer folks entrance into the hobby, and a lot of times people that have connections to athletes say, hey,
like everybody asks me all the time.
Like, what if I sign that?
It's better if they sign for Topps. You don't want
you don't want to pull a base and have your boy sign it. Like it's not gonna it's gonna actually devalue it, maybe, like, because people aren't buying it for that. It's the authenticated kind of version of it. Something that and gonna just shift gears a little bit, because even in our pre-conversation, I think so much of what I've tried to communicate with this show, you've had similar feelings about, in terms of just what being in the game does for you, and how approaching it as a business practice and an educational journey that can be replicated in different areas. If you follow Tyler on social, you notice he does a lot in the stock market as well, which has had a massive cultural, not resurgence, but explosion in terms of access with Robinhood. It's funny. My dad's a broker, and he works on the high end, and it's still for me to trade with my dad, $50 for a single trade. Right now, Robinhood,
I'm on that TD Ameritrade, baby, zero commission.
Yeah, but that's a new phenomenon. So what it's done is it's led to an explosion of media around it. People talking about buying and selling stocks on intraday, which 10 years ago was not necessarily a thing. You had to go through years and years of schooling, and then you had an advisor to do that stuff for you. And I think there's a lot of replicatable stuff, but to society, to the everyday man, trading stocks and day trading is a noble practice. But to the outside of you're a grown man running a sports card business is a little bit of like, go hang with the weirdos over there. But it's real. And I think when I look at your stuff, the approach of, understanding different indicators to look at as tech is evolving, both with all the new marketplaces, Star Stock, ComC, some of these different things that are coming out and making it more replicatable. And then something also of over the last 5 years being around Gary, the amount of startups that have come through of this is going to be the way that fans can invest in athletes. That you can buy them on this exchange now. And every time and again, to my understanding, it's fizzled out. And then I'm like, oh, this is it. This is the way that people can make early investments into athletes and then sell it. So I would just love to hear from you about what that journey's been like for you, and the buying and selling, and how that's maybe helped, or different practices you've taken from the stock market to understanding, product supply and demand, the whole nine.
Yeah. I mean, it's the two are, so similar in my eyes, just diving in the last, 6 to 8 months. of the correlation between, I mean, the basics of supply and demand. I mean, it really is the basics of supply and demand of, and what you mentioned with the stock market and different indicators is that's why, I've shifted a lot of my energy towards the stock market just because there's so much more information. I mean, there is, the way I describe it now is like, imagine if I could buy, 50 Mike Trout rookie PSA 10s the morning of that. I know that he's going to face a pitcher that I know is not very good and that he has the potential to hit 1 or 2 home runs. He does that, and then I can sell 50 PSA 10 Mike Trout rookies that afternoon and take the mini profit. That is what the stock market is like right now. You can bet on earnings. You could bet on, bad information. You could buy on Microsoft, maybe buying TikTok. Oh, well, price shot up 6% right there.
Yeah.
And so like just being able to take some of that information and make a predicted guess based on some of the information that you have and being able to have more information than everybody else is huge in the stock market. And I think the data and the way that analytics are going and the way that the market is going is going to be more of that. You're going to be able to see, like I can see when a stock moves from its trading relative volume and now it's trading at 2 times that relative volume. Why is that? Does somebody know something that I don't? Okay, they're buying. Why are they buying? So now you can make educated guesses based on other data that you have. If you could see that all of a sudden, 10 Mike Trout rookies just went off eBay, like right now, boom, right? Okay, why is that? What happened? Oh, dang, he just hit 5 home runs. It's like, you know
Michael
what I mean?
Porter
If you
Jr.,
have those
30 and
tools,
15 back-to-back nights happening with the NBA, you're starting to see it a lot more. And I think what is fascinating right on that is the tech will always catch up. There's an amazing white space right now for innovation, both and where the endemics, the people that have been in the game, they're the ones with the most resources. And if they move fast, I mean, they're going to really make some serious heat.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, it's so exciting to see what these companies are doing. I mean, you got so many that are, trying to do what we're describing, and who's going to be the first to market. And it's like this is a special time in the hobby to see, whether it's Card Ladder, whether it's Slab Stocks, whether it's Star Stock, whether it's eBay, whether it's StockX, whether it's ComC.
Yeah.
Literally, there are so many that it's like somebody is going to find the formula that is going to work.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of, now I've positioned myself where I'm kind of waiting for that to happen because like we talked about pre-show, it's just so much when you're selling one card here and then I'm oh dang, I'm in Cali today, but I sold that card. Now I got to come back here. I got to put it in a package. I got to ship it out. And so if you're not truly committed to really engulfing yourself in the buying and selling every day, the bubble mailers, the Dymo printer, if you don't, you know what I mean? Like if you're cutting paper still, the time that you're going to be able to do that and the amount of cards you're going to be able to ship is going to be reduced. And then you're going to constantly be stuck in this get up of over that hump. And so that's the biggest thing that I've noticed is like, if you're really going to take this serious, you're going to take this serious. I tried, breaking on Instagram for, I think maybe 4 days. And I'm like, bro, if I'm not on this tomorrow and they're not expecting, that they're going to have this quality of service and I can't provide that. Now all of a sudden I'm providing that for 1 week. And then all of a sudden I'm doing a break every 2 weeks. Like you just got no shot. So I think the biggest thing for me is really having an intention of where do you want to be? And then your actions aligning with that. Because if you think that you're going to make $100,000 flipping, $7 cards to 14 and I bought hundreds of cards for $2 and flip them and flip them and flip them. And you can learn a lot in that biz. But if you're thinking that you're going to take it to the next level and all of a sudden you're going to have a sports card business or own a shop or like that, you know what I mean? Like you have to be realistic about what your intentions are, what the end goal is, and then make those actions align with that.
It's a great point because I think it's so easy right now to look at it and say I can make a ton of money doing that, and it's easy because the values are going up. And then I also think a lot about when you make the purchase. A lot of people are sitting on a lot of things right now and just checking sold listings and being like, "Oh, I'm rich."
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
called realize. Yeah,
Yeah, nothing matters
it's
until you
called
realize
realize profit.
profits.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yep.
And that's not easy because okay, cool. Go try and sell an asset for $10,000 and talk to me about how that makes you feel in your body, the process you go through, the relationship you now have with the person, the responsibility you now have with the person, all that. It's cute to look at a someone else did it and just say I'm rich.
It's exhausting.
Or having to live with the fact that you just sold that card at 10 and now it's 30K.
Yeah,
and
we
so
talk
do
about
you
that a
have
lot.
that? Do you have that in you as well? Because that's another emotion that cannot be let go. I mean, there's a lot of regret there. There's a lot of FOMO in buying. There's a lot of, I mean, just so many different things that are not for the weak. They're not for the
And
weak.
we talked about that with MC Sports Cards when he was on. Is basically every card you sell is going to go up or down, and some of these cards are going to go up a lot. We've talked about it when I had it. I used to own Mahomes National Treasures patch autos that were 9.510s. Sold them for $3,000 a piece, and those are $65,000 cards. Multiple, right? Like it happens. I had a Luca NT at a 20. Sold it for less than 20 grand. Those cards are $90,000. I mean, that's part of the game but every move you make gets you one step closer to the end goal.
You would have never bought anything else that you had.
Exactly. You would have never, that card could have gone down. I mean, it works both ways.
Yeah, I think that's like a very, like what you just said right there, Ryan, is so fucking valuable for people. Like we were saying, like it takes a lot to make a sale like that. And like knowing that you lost out on 60K on something, that hurts, but also you learned a lot making that sale, and that 20K set you up for something else, and that learning taught you something else. And the same way me and Tyler are talking about making an LLC and what does that mean, and all those learnings, it's all learning. And like the thing about cars that I love the most right now for me is that I'm learning how to like operate and like make decisions
100%.
and like all that stuff is so important. And like the numbers are one part of it, but it really, at the end of the day, I truly believe the numbers don't matter. It's what you're learning when you're going through the day to day.
Yeah,
sure.
and a big difference between it in that and say the stock market, which a lot of people can sit back and do. And there's all these stories, both on the good side, but a lot on the horror side of dumping money into Robinhood and selling shorts and puts and all like 2 months into the game. At the end of the day, I still have this to look at, right? It's still a tangible thing. And it can be, a source of, people like collecting stuff, people like having stuff around them. So you actually feel it versus sometimes I think if you're day trading, there's even more of like you can kind of get caught because you don't have to go to the post office to mail it. You don't have to go through those practices. You don't have to know the person on the other end who's making the purchase. And so even there's another level of like, okay, whether you want to call it the AA before you go into like the big leagues, it's a great starting ground. And it's so funny because being around Gary for 7 years, he always said, that's where I got my start. That's where I got my start. And
100%.
now for me, it's been so much of like, yo, this is sweet because I know I'm going to be able to apply these same lessons and principles across so many different things going forward.
Even just the ability to communicate, of like walking up to a table and understanding this guy, has this. I remember Javier Baez, bro, Heritage Red Ink, and I was looking at the
this
national.
man Tyler, real quick, this man Tyler loves Heritage.
Loves it.
I do.
Loves it.
I do.
Anyway, keep going.
Those were my first couple cards, is buying Heritage at the National. $2 Ronald Acuna's. I bought 55 of them. If I would have done that same thing and bought Flagship instead of Heritage, we would be talking a little bit different. But just the ability to communicate with that guy, of understanding his tone of voice and understanding, he's got 200 on this, but why is it scratched out, or what, this one's sitting next to here. Just even like little indications of how humans operate and communicate, and just so much that it brings so much opportunity to learn. I mean, it's just priceless. Priceless.
Couldn't agree more.
So I think, we've been going for like 25 minutes now. Just to wrap it up a little bit, Tyler, I think like you were saying, right now you're a little bit more focused on the stock end of stuff, and you're thinking about what's going on in the future of cards. Where do you see this whole hobby for you and maybe for others as well in the next like 6 to 12 months?
I mean, I think finally now it's made me realize that this is the new normal. You know, prices, the amount of people in this, the seriousness of breakers, the seriousness of grading. Like, it finally hit me probably in the last 3 weeks that, like, okay, this isn't, you know, a bubble, or this isn't over. You know, I mean, this is a thing, bro. Like, this is gonna be for a while. And so right now for me, I've got a lot of long-term holds that I'm holding. I've got a lot of, you know, a lot of the flips that I made, you know, from a year ago are now in what I call Amazon stock or Apple stock, or just stuff that you own in the market that you're like, you know, I could give it up right now, but I would just buy it back at this, you know, at probably higher prices than what I would right now. And so that's kind of the spot that I'm in right now, is kind of just holding, because I mean, the hobby is insane right now, and the amount of people coming into it, we're going to see some special things, whether it's, you know, a break in technology where, you know, I can have my whole collection sitting somewhere and I can actively just boom, 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 buy, sell, transfer I just sold 5 PSA Trouts because he just hit five jacks, and I'll, you know, buy him back in a week from now when it goes back down. And so I think a couple of different things that, you know, the hobby is gonna have in place, whether that's technology, whether it's still the same money, whether it's new influencers. Obviously, we got Mark Wahlberg. I mean, we got literally the amount. We got players with their own cards. We have players commenting on posts of $1.8 million cards. The best player in the world commenting. Like, the things that are happening right now are, for me, what I see is like setting up for like a long-term industry. Whether it goes up and down in the next 2, 3, 4 years, it could go down for sure. But I know in my mind that in 10 years, like, this is still going to be a thing. Mike Trout rookies are still going to be a thing. LeBron rookies are still going to be a thing, because it's a physical asset that has rarity, and the pure fact of supply and demand says that more people are going to want this than there are available right now.
Yep.
And
I
so
think that's a great way to put a bow on a good conversation.
absolutely.
We'll have to run it back, but T, thank you, man. This it's been fun talking from your career to just the inside of the whole thing, and I'm leaving this fired up myself. So thanks again for the time.
100%. I appreciate you, boys.
All right, so that was our interview with Tyler Wagner. Make sure you guys check him out on Instagram at Tyler Wagner. So let's get right into the next topic here. It's going to be our mailbag. As always, if you want to submit a question for us to answer on the show, feel free to submit them on Instagram or Twitter at Card Talk Pod, or send us an email. It's cardtalkpod@gmail.com. So this week's question comes from, it's Cardboard Collect _cards and then the number 4. And it says, best player in the NBA, 25 and under, to put money into right now. So what do you guys think? So just to give the listeners some perspective on who this is going to include, first couple big ones are going to be Giannis, Luka, Tatum, Trey, Booker, Ja. You're going to have Mitchell, Fox, Bam, MPJ, Shea, Kobe, White, Rui, Hero, Ben Simmons. There's a lot more on this list. That's just the initial list. I think a lot of all the guys we're going to use are on that list.
Yep.
But
Giannis, like, I don't know if he fits the. I guess if we're talking, it's 25 and under. He's like 25 and a half.
Sounds like 25 and under.
Yeah, I guess.
He's more 25 than not 25.
You can include him. Okay. You included Michael Porter Jr. on that list?
Yep.
Sweet. All right, let's get into it. What do you think, Rye?
I debated this for a minute. The first couple that stand out to me are Hero, Tatum, and Shea. It's not going to be Shea for me. I like Tatum a lot. Tatum's in a big market that intrigues me. He's going to be the superstar on the team. They're going to be a top 2 or 3 team in the East each year. I've been on the Tatum train for a while. I think that's been pretty known. So Hero at his prices intrigues me a lot because he's got a lot more potential to rise there. The Heat are deep. They're going to have potential to make a run. So to me, it's going to be one of those two guys. Giannis is an intriguing one, though. Giannis is likely going to win, you would assume, back-to-back MVPs. I mean, they're going to be probably the favorites to come out of the East. I mean, dude's going to be 25 winning back-to-back MVPs. That's crazy. I think the thing I need to see from Giannis before I would pay those prices is you got to win something meaningful. You got to get to at least the NBA Finals, and I haven't seen that yet. So at the moment, if I'm buying today, Tatum or Rui are likely my first two, or Tatum or Hero are my first two. If I'm picking one specifically, I'd probably go Hero just for the value play.
That is not what I would have expected from you, but interesting. Go, Lou. What's your ceiling on Hero?
Devin Booker.
And if he is Devin, like, you think he can be the face of a franchise?
I don't expect Jimmy Butler to be there forever. Jimmy Butler seems to self-implode anywhere he goes.
I agree.
So you would assume it's got to be Hero on that team. I mean, Duncan Robinson's cool, but he's not doing much. I mean, Kendrick Nunn, I'm going to take Hero over Nunn. I'm taking Hero. The other guys are just, they go up every single day, and it just, Tatum had one bad game a couple weeks ago, and everyone's like, man, Tatum's not that good. Tatum's not that good. And prices fall a little bit. And there's so much more volatility in that higher end stuff. I mean, Luka PSA 10s are $2,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, an injury or something like that just worries me so much more in cards that are that expensive. So for me, I'm trying to take the upside on a guy that has potential to be a top 2 or 3 player on a team that could certainly be in the finals. To me, I'm going Hero.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, for me, I love Tyler Hero as discussed on the show, but I would probably say either Booker. I don't know why you're so anti Tyler Hero. It's very strange.
I just think he's a middle of the pack NBA guy. It's like
Devin Booker was a middle of the pack NBA guy until
Devin Booker was not really a middle of the pack NBA guy. But keep going. Go. Sorry. Go.
Go ahead, Ryan. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I mean, you're Tyler being so anti-Tyler Hero, but being so pro, can't ever stay healthy MPJ is just 20.
This is the contradiction.
Michael Porter Jr. is by far and away off the charts. If you look at the successful NBA players, like the guy is his body, KD light, what he can do from his size. Tyler Hero is like every single year.
When is the last time Michael Porter Jr. was healthy for 6 months in a row?
He had back surgery 18 months ago, and they held him out.
Didn't play in his freshman year of college
because they're getting him healthy.
No, he was hurt.
Like, if we want to have this debate, you're talking about my man Tyler Hero, who has missed time for ankle injuries and is a middle of the pack shooting guard.
Stop.
Keep going. And MPJ was like a number 1 high school prospect, a top pick that fell because of his back, and they held him out for 2 years because they realized how important he is. And I'm not even going to pick Michael Porter Jr., but to compare the two on paper is asinine. Go, Lou.
Right, well, that was just mean. But I love Tyler Hero. I'm not picking Tyler Hero either. I'm going to probably pick either Booker or Luka. The reason I'm going to pick Luka is because I truly believe he's probably the safest guy you could possibly buy right now. Obviously, the price point is much higher, but I just think there's so much room to grow on him when you look at what Giannis prices are right now. It hasn't done anything, and then Booker, I still hold firm. I'm confused on the Booker thing. I get it, but I don't at the same time. But obviously, everyone loves him, so I would probably put some money there as well.
I think the most intriguing thing with Booker is, does he end up in New York? Because that I think has
that conversation happens with every single young player. And it's such a stupid thing.
But if he stays in Phoenix, I'm not as optimistic about some of his prices. But if he goes to a major team, I think there's definitely some more upside. But I mean, that kid Draymond got fined $50,000 for tampering. I mean, Devin Booker is a star.
That was an unbelievable comment by Draymond, by the way.
Yeah. Who's your final pick? So I can get into this?
My final pick is Luka.
Got it. And I think on the eye test, when I think about early LeBron, Luka to me is someone that at every single second that he is on the court is in control of the game.
Yep.
Like slow. He plays slow and yet so fast. And that's when I think about LeBron and the way that LeBron manufactured himself to the finals every year. I think is you're going to start getting incredibly surprised at how, because the Mavs record this year is like all-time bad in terms of like one possession losses. But I think he's going to learn a lot from that, and you're just going to see somehow, for no reason at all, Luka just starts to win games because he's in control of everything. But I still would not take him if I'm saying, okay, I can invest in one guy for the long term and hold. To me, it is Devin Booker right now, and it is because of the reasons of how I think about in getting into different cards in general. You said it's like 12, it's over 10K in terms of base Prism PSA 10 Lukas.
I think
Luka's over 12K.
Yeah.
Devin Booker, his base is just over 1,000, 1095. 2015 product versus 2018. There's a lot less printed. The demand was not the same.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the first. Luka was like the first chase that came in. Booker's going for arguably half. It's 2 or 3 years younger. So what does the next 2-3 years look like for Luka to skyrocket him? The Mavs are much more of a mass market team than the Phoenix Suns. They got Mark Cuban, carries a lot of weight there. He already made a play, brought in Kristaps. So I think that all those factored in. But Booker is either going to hopefully not stay in Phoenix. If he does stay in Phoenix, I don't think I'm as right. But I think he leaves and goes to a mass market team. He's dating like the most famous female, arguably, in the world right now, if you want to give it cultural points. And yeah, his base is going off at 1,200. There's 1,000 of them. Luka's going off at 2,000. There's 10,000 of them. And Booker is 2-3 years younger. He played more. I think he played one more year in college. Luka didn't even play in college, but I think,
that was international.
Yeah, I think for all those factors included, mainly supply and demand, I'd start there, and then Booker's skills on the court, I think, are all-time next level, and it's going to translate once he gets a little bit of a team around him, which might end up being Phoenix. So that's where my head's at. Devin Booker.
Yeah, so all three of us different plays on that. All right, so let's get into our next discussion. This is going to be Stump the Shop, which is brought to you by eBay. Stump the Shop is where Tyler and Lou team up to try to stump the shop, which is myself. Each team's given $1,000 to grow that over the next few weeks by buying and flipping cards on eBay. And then the team, Tyler and Lou or myself, that ends up with the most money at the end of the segment will be the winner. So Tyler and Lou, I want to start with you guys because it sounds like you guys might be making some sort of play here. You've made some purchases, but it sounds like we might be moving towards maybe selling some stuff. So why don't we get into that?
Yep, it's time to make a sale, Tyler.
I agree.
We've thought about it. We've seen what's going on. We are aware of Ryan and his sneaky little misnamed auctions and whatnot. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this PSA 9 Bulbasaur first edition. Let me get it right up on the camera there. And we're going to list it. Our boy Bulbasaur. The thought on Bulbasaur when we bought it was Bulbasaur is one of the 3 starter Pokemons. For people who aren't aware, when you play it on the Game Boy Color, Game Boy whatever, Game Boy Advance, you have to pick between Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. So these 3 are always the most popular not the most popular, but the ones you think of when you first think of Pokemon. So we bought this for $325 plus tax and fees a couple weeks ago at this point. And today we're going to list it. So what I want to do is I want to go through the whole process. I want to look at recent sales. I want to look at recent prices, and then I want to make a call, me and you together here. We're going to do our team meeting with Ryan, which is kind of stupid, but we're going to do it anyway.
It seems to be consistently that I'm involved in
Ryan,
your team meetings.
You're busy. We're fighting an uphill battle, not to make a single excuse, but I mean, you got, customers walking into your shop every single day. You're like, hey, I just picked up this great Garrett Cole lot, and I see you walked in with a Pittsburgh Pirates hat and a Yankees t-shirt.
Everything I sell is on eBay.
I feel like you might just be in the market for a
Here is an eBay listing.
Bye.
All right, let's get into it. All right, so one thing to notice on Pokemon is the auctions aren't going to come up as much. There's not going to be as many of them because the population reports are so low. I actually don't have it in front of me. I should have had that in front of me. Tyler, if you could look it up while I'm doing this here. So recent sales, I believe this one went for about $700.
Yep, and for those not watching on video, we're talking just what was your search on eBay there? Bulbasaur first edition PSA 9?
Yeah. So Typically, I would go a little bit more deep, but you don't need to. But for the purposes of this, it would be $19.99. And you can see the recent sales there. So $545 was the last auction for a Bulbasaur PSA 9. That was July 31st. So what we're going to do is we're going to list this. I did it a little bit.
And Lou, real quick, it's important to notice on that is that's an international, so that's a Canadian sale. There are other sales that are non-Canadian. So that sometimes will have factor into it if someone doesn't want to wait the extra couple days for shipping. So I think that's important to note.
Yep, for sure. So then here was another one as well in the US that went for $635 with 60 bids.
Which is one day earlier.
Yep, one day earlier. So $545, $635. This is a buy it now for $300. I don't know how that was so low, but that's fine. Good for that person.
Ryan, that's a great point. I just want to call that out real quick. I haven't thought much about that with how liquid and fast paced the market is right now. That matters.
And there's also import fees when you buy international as well sometimes.
Yep.
That's another thing.
Yeah, it's like I bought a card 10 days ago from Canada that hasn't shown up yet, but I buy it from anywhere in the US and it's here within 3 days. It's, I mean, knock on wood typically, but.
All right. So for the process of listing, I got ahead of it a little bit. But what you would do here is you would go up to the top of your account, you would click sale, and then I'm going to search 1999 Pokemon Bulbasaur. 9. No one spells better than me. I'm the best at spelling. So then the good thing about eBay here is they give you the things you could sell one like this, which does a lot of the legwork of the actual listing for you. So this is exactly what I have right here. I'm going to click sell one like this. I would do new. Everything is going to be in here when it loads in. So this is pretty much everything you have here except for the photos. I did one over here. So this is the exact listing I'm going to go with. 1999 Pokemon game base, first edition Bulbasaur, number 44, PSA 9 mint. I have my 2 photos right here. There's the main right there. There's the back right there. Took this on my phone real quick. They're a little bit off centered. Probably not to Ryan's liking, but that's just too bad. And then I'm going to do an auction. So we're going to do an auction. We're going to start at 99 cents for 7 days. So this comes out on Wednesday. So when the next episode records, we will have the final results of this auction. Hopefully it'll be going off as we're on the air. I can't wait to have that reaction. 99 cents. Do you want to do offers, Ty?
Nope.
No, you want to just run it?
Nope. Let's just run it out.
All right. We're going to do a 7-day auction as well.
Question, Ryan. Do you think about timing?
I was literally going to go into that. So I have employees that list cards for me, and I do not list anything during the day. Most people are working during the day. I mean, obviously COVID changes that, but I'm not searching for eBay auctions at 5:50 on a Monday. I'm searching for cards on a Sunday night at 9:30. So this is important here. As much as I would love to see this card go for $240 and for you guys to take a fat L on this,
I'm buying it if it goes for $240.
We're buying it back.
When it sells matters. So typically Sunday is the best day to end on. I know some people are big on Tuesdays, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Typically I end stuff every day, but I'm very big on doing it at night. So even if you do Monday to Monday, you do a 7-day auction, you can still pick when it starts and you can just do it for the evening. That won't make as big of a deal, but during the day, I'm not as big on. So I'd pay the 10 cents and schedule the listing. And if you're watching on video, Lou's doing that right now.
You know,
so
it's funny. My psychology, I like to end stuff on Friday nights and Saturday nights sometimes because I feel like that's when I'm most apt to make a fun purchase.
I feel like those are also the most likely time for you to be preoccupied by some sort of social event.
It's fair. I guess there's just not many social events happening in the world
Touché.
now. And I also, and I just try to map my own consumer behavior, like, a whiskey or a bourbon on a Friday night and like closing
Friday's
out
also
some,
payday.
Yeah, that's what I've thought about. I've always tried to end Friday or Saturdays, but to your point, Sunday is probably a strong one. I just know my mood on Sunday is typically not like a fired up to spend money. It's like a get focused for the week and like try to battle some Sunday scaries sometimes. Whereas like Friday, Saturday, you're like feeling good and want to make a purchase. But it's all these things are a factor in trying to make a sale.
All right. Well, I'm going to schedule this end at 9 p.m. on a Monday night, and that's what we're going to do.
I like it. That's because we're a team. It's irrelevant what Ryan please.
Make team decisions, and Ryan's selfish. So that's how that goes.
Ryan selfishly told you to not list it at 4:00 on a Wednesday or on a Monday.
Ryan, we
you can
know
also-
you're just trying to throw us off the scent.
Yeah, like you can keep trying, but it's not going to work. All right, so ship your item. I have all this inputted here already because I sell other stuff, but 6 ounces. It's cheap. It's a small little package. Buyer calculate shipping. Do you do free shipping or do you do?
So everything on my shipping on my page is $3.95. But I will also say this is a very important thing, especially if you're new on selling on eBay. I ship 55 auctions every single day. We ship breaks. I do not ship hardly anything above 4 ounces.
Why?
1 to 4 ounces is the same exact amount of is the same exact price. When you get to 5 and 6 ounces, it goes for more money. So 90% of it is if you ship that in a team bag and you throw inside a bubble mailer and you put cards on each side, it's not more than 4 ounces.
All right. Well,
So typically we'll do
big learning for your boy.
So we typically do 4 ounces. I mean, because you're probably looking at about a 55 to 75 cent difference. And on each package, 50 a day, that's going to add up, especially multiple days throughout the week. So most of what we do is 4 ounces.
And then you're doing free ship. Like, do you eat the shipping or do you charge?
$3.95, I think is what it is now on every single thing. And that's probably cheap. Shipping costs go up every couple months at this point.
Yeah, I always
it's going to go up more if you're paying attention to what's going on with the USPS right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I always just do buyer pays because it's the easiest, and then
I always do buyer pays calculated shipping.
All right, so I'm going to do 4 ounces, and we're going to preview the listing real quick here. Just take a look at it. This just reeks of a W right in Ryan's face.
Yep.
And we're going to list it. You ready?
Question. Where do you stand on emojis in the titles? I'm a big emoji in the title guy. Like if it was me, I would throw the leaf emoji on.
Do you ever get on eBay and search for the leaf?
No, but
but when it's stopping power when you're scrolling. I know what Tyler's saying. You don't search with the leaf, but you see the leaf and you're like, what's going on here?
Dials me in.
So does all caps or bold listings or those?
No, that's some old
school
seller.
Just a nice touch. Like if I'm out there purchasing Pokemon, I think I enjoy it a little bit more.
Put the leaf on there and end it. Put the leaf on there and end it on Monday at 5 o'clock.
You're challenging me, and now I'm gonna do it, and I don't even want to.
Wait, no. The green one, bro. Here, I'll
put a fall leaf.
I just googled leaf emoji.
Yeah, but you need the green because he's Bulbasaur and he's green. The one I just sent in the chat.
I love being a part of these team meetings. They're a disaster.
You're a disaster. Here we
We're
go.
Focused. Every detail matters.
Sorry, we want to win. All right, so we're not gonna schedule it anymore because now Ryan annoyed me, and we're just gonna run it.
Yeah, let's run it.
All right.
I like running it.
I'm also gonna say I'm gonna be the guy who says this. Don't buy something because we're listing it. That's a horrible idea. I understand. Don't do that though. If you want to buy it, buy the card. Don't just buy it because it's here. Thank you. List it.
This is so sneaky.
It's not sneaky.
I don't love this play, man. I should have gotten the Pokemon game earlier.
Yeah,
you should have.
We are live, so this will be going off at 5:55 when we finish up the show next week. So we need to make sure we're recording because as this goes off, I'm going to be going crazy.
Yep.
All right.
And I can't believe we actually sold it or are listing it because
it's
the last thing I'm doing is selling Pokemon stuff. But
I literally listed a bunch of sports cards on Instagram yesterday because I only want to buy Pokemon cards.
But here we are.
Here we are. All right.
We have one goal, and it is to stump the shop.
So I only made one play this week. I told Lou about it before it started. I was on like Friday night. I was searching again. You guys took the approach, and this is very different. And I love that we did this. You guys took the approach of underpriced assets. We think these things have potential. This is why we bought the Bulbasaur, right? Starter Pokemon, a 9 versus a 10. There might be some room there. Love that strategy. I took it as things getting listed incorrectly, things getting listed too low, like different. If you find things at the right time, like first thing listed or misspelling or things like not enough description in the title, I think there's money to be made there. And that's where I've gone with this. I bought the Garrett Cole lot. I've bought a soccer lot. I bought a vintage baseball lot. I bought, and then I bought an item on last week that was misspelled. So it was a 101 rookie gold vinyl. It was a PSA 9 and it was misspelled. The last name was spelled wrong. in the first names common. So that I think that's an interesting take here. Once I get it in, I'll show it. But just searching football cards, ending soonest, auctions, typically somewhere between 8:45 and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is a good time when I look for those. And then I'll search like price above $25 because I'm not looking for like dollar cards. And then you just scroll ending soonest and you just go through there and find out, see if you can find any deals. I actually ended up buying another lot of Deshaun Watson on Sunday night. So I actually bought two things, and it was listed as like Deshaun Watson rated rookie lot. And I won it for like $71. And there was an optic red yellow rookie. There was a Donruss rated rookie, and there was a select rookie. And I added it all up and got to like 118, and I think I paid $71 for it. So I'm gonna have some work to make up because you guys are taking $300 and turning it into $600, and I'm taking 70 and turning it into 120. So I've got a lot more work to do.
You will be dancing if that thing goes off at 600.
Yeah, you should be fired up if it only goes to 6. I'm not kidding, Ryan. You're about to get smoked on this car.
And that might be the case. Right? You don't need 16 years of experience. I think that's what we're trying to show here is that you don't need to be the expert. And if you know what you're talking about and you put some money into what you can do well. So
yep. $399 is the population on that card. $399.
Population $399 on that PSA 9.
Largest IP in the world. Is equivalent to like
by a country mile.
So you take Star Wars, you got Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, Darth Maul, all these different characters. He's a top 5 character in the biggest IP in the world. And that's how we feel.
So that is Stump the Shop. Stump the Shop is brought to you by eBay, your number one stop for buying and selling trading cards and memorabilia. Last but not least, for this week's episode, we have the latest launch. So this is upcoming products for this week. We've got a baseball and a football release. Panini Elements football, and I believe Bowman Sterling baseball comes out this week, but those are not the main one we want to focus on. It is Darkness Ablaze. We've talked about this for a couple episodes now. The newest Pokemon release is set to come out this Friday, August 14th. So Lou, Ty, any quick thoughts on the new Pokemon release?
I think the new Pokemon, we talked about it a little bit last week. There's not the Charizard that people thought was going to be in it, but there is a Charizard VMAX, which is going to be a super popular card. There's a Butterfree. There's a bunch of good VMAXs in there, and then it's just adding to the hotness of Pokemon. So I'm excited about it. I got my case coming. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited for our boy Leon Hart. Everything Pokemon. I think back to that episode. Great, good friend of the crew. And then I'm really excited to see. I imagine it's really going to go. There's going to be a lot of unboxing on Twitch. I think you're going to see the gaming community start to creep in. I think this is the first big product release for Pokemon, and those two worlds are going to collide a little bit more. I'm interested to see if someone's going to do a run through of Pokemon Blue or Red on Twitch off the back of opening some packs. So yeah, I'm just generally excited. I think that nostalgia. I don't have any of it coming my way. I'm not tapped in. I'm focused on the early stuff. 1999 game.
I think we should open a box.
Team Rocket. But yeah, maybe we'll open a box and do some live content next week
just for fun.
And if you gotten this far, really appreciate it. Give us all feedback. We're working to put out some more day-to-day content. And thanks again from the crew. Talk to you
Apple
soon.
feedback, Apple reviews, super big. 5 stars if you love it. That'd be lit. Thank you.